Look, I also think that creatives, we need to talk more about, a lot of times I see young writers, they're like, I'm not feeling inspired. And it's like, it's as though we're waiting for Cupid to pluck us with this arrow of inspiration. And I don't have time for that, right? Like we have to cultivate a way to say, I'm being creative today. I'm not waiting for Cupid. I'm going to go. Let's go. So, I don't really wait for inspiration. I think I have to, it's a job, right? We don't have it's not like, I'm not feeling it today. I'm not going to do my job. You have to find ways to get yourself up every day. That's in normal times, not just in times where you're having difficulty or lulls. So we have to cultivate that like a muscle.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to SAG-AFTRA Foundation's Conversations at Home program. I'm Perri Nemiroff with Collider. Today, we are kicking off a brand new series for you called Creating During Times of Hardship. And our very first guest for one of these conversations is Gloria Calderón Kellett. Hello, Gloria. Thank you so much for joining. And in advance, thank you for sharing some of your creative process during challenging times with us, because we need it.
We sure do. Happy to do it.
All right. I got a big old question for you right now, a three-parter here. Right. So a three-parter about powering through creative lulls. I want to know the person in your life that you turn to help you through those times, a place you like to go to that helps, and then also a thing, whether it's a physical thing, an activity you like to do, you name it, that helps contribute to that process as well.
Gosh, I go to fellow writers when I am feeling stuck. I'm so fortunate to have so many wonderful writers I've worked with over the years. And look, right now they're all available. So normally we're all working on our various projects. So, I really love Mike Royce and Andy Roth and Kelly Younger and Andrew Leeds. And, there are a lot of people in my life that I go to as sources of inspiration. And the writers are the ones I tend to go to the most.
Okay, so that's part one. You got your people. Next, I want your place. What place do you go to in order to power through those creative lulls?
My office. I have an office. So I have an office that has like my mementos, little, good vibes, little quotes and things, pictures my kids have drawn me. This is Cuba in the background. This is a mural of Cuba. And this is all my why, right? My why surrounds me. This is why I create. This is why I'm a storyteller. So being surrounded by these things is like a hug and reminds me to keep moving forward.
Oh, I love that. Before I go to my thing now, I want to follow up on that. Can you name one thing about the space that you're in right now that contributes to helping you be creative? But then I also want to know something that you deliberately didn't do when designing that space in order to take you out of that creative process.
Oh, gosh. I mean, there's not even really one thing. There's so much. It's really the amalgamation of all of the things. I mean, I'll show you my little Mary. Do you want me to grab an item?
Oh, yeah. Let's see it. I'm here for examples.
Okay. This is the one item I stole from One Day at a Time. This is a Mary statue, which has a lot of significance. This is La Caridad. This is specifically the patron of Cuba. These are like people on a boat crossing water, and also, it's a symbolic, powerful woman that also has Cuban significance, and it was sat in the little alcove in One Day at a Time, and so it just reminds me of a lot of wonderful things.
Okay, so source of inspiration that helps right there. But what about when you were designing that space, something you didn't want to include in it because it could be a distraction, it could add negative energy to the space?
I mean, didn't want to include.
Like I always have to keep a TV far away from me.
Oh no, I have to have a TV because I use this as a writer's room. So I'll put everything up on the TV. We'll plug the computers into the TV. So I have a TV in here. I don't use it for television. I use it as a, like a board, basically.
Okay.
But no, I don't know what I don't have. I just know what I do have.
Okay. I like that.
Half full person anyway.
I appreciate that approach to everything in life. All right, we still have a part 3 of that question. I want a thing that you turn to that contributes to you being able to spark some creativity during tough times, whether it's a physical thing or an activity.
Yeah, I like ritual. So I like to light candles. I like to have some music on. The playlist varies depending on what I'm writing. And I kind of like to, it's like romancing myself.
Oh, I get that.
Candles, I get some music, there's gotta be a vibe. And then I just get to it.
As a creature of habit, I very much understand the ritual idea. What is your candle scent of choice?
Right now, I'm really liking the Bays candle. I like the Volcano. Volcano is also a go-to. These are my 2 candles. So this is the Volcano. This is Anthropology, basically. Oh, what a dream. What a summer day. And then this Bays is also, I don't even know what this smells like. It's just wonderful. What is this? This is, it doesn't say, but it's Bays is the name of this candle.
You're inspiring me to seek out more options. I am a candy corn candle addict.
Yeah, those are my 2 go-to candles.
I highly recommend candy corn scented candles because it is spooky season and it's my favorite time of year. 'Tis the season.
Nice.
All right. So let's get into the beginning of your creative process during lulls. So step 1 now, what do you usually turn to when you want to get creative, but are on the hunt for a new idea? Is there a particular process you go through in order to find something new to get started with?
It's so interesting. A lot of people talk about new ideas. I think that for a lot of creatives, the one thing we don't talk about is the many ideas we've had over the years that we don't have the luxury of time or the luxury of, really time is the biggest one to focus on, right? So I rarely am looking for new things because I have so many things that I've been wanting to share, so many stories I've been wanting to put out into the world. So I'll revisit notebooks. I'll revisit, I have a slate of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17 things on my board that I want to do. So there's not a shortage. And I don't need a new idea because I want to do those 17 things.
So you keep those 17 things right there. I assume then
it is show you that board, but
of
yeah,
course, I don't want to know the secrets because I want the secrets to ultimately happen. But so it is helpful for you to have those kind of right there, reminding you all the time versus kind of saving them and not necessarily feeling the pressure to see all 17 at once.
No, I have them written up there, and I have a 6-month, 1-year, 5-year, 10-year plan that I'm constantly updating.
Okay. So the whiteboard is your way to map all that out. Do you have any other tools or things you turn to kind of, create some sort of plan, whether it's short term or long term?
Oh, iCal. My iCal is, look, I'll just, listen. iCal, I have children. This is my iCal.
You're really organized. You're a planner.
Yes, I am. Yes,
I like that.
I plan it all out. Look, I also think that creatives, we need to talk more about, a lot of times I see young writers, they're like, I'm not feeling inspired. And it's like, it's as though we're waiting for Cupid to pluck us with this arrow of inspiration. And I don't have time for that, right? Like we have to cultivate a way to say, I'm being creative today. I'm not waiting for Cupid. I'm going to go. Let's go. So I don't really wait for inspiration. I think I have to. It's a job, right? We don't have it's not like I'm not feeling it today. I'm not going to do my job. You have to find ways to get yourself up every day. That's in normal times, not just in times where you're having difficulty or lulls. So you have to cultivate that like a muscle.
So you just showed us your iCal. I know you've got your whiteboard. Is there any other lesser known tool for organization and planning that you would recommend people to seek out?
I got lists. I got my iCal. Whatever keeps you organized. I like the iCal, but I do sometimes like to also break it down even further with like, this is just what I have to do till 6:30. So like, this is just, I'm doing that, I have like my, this, that, like timed 8 to 8. And this, I don't know. Sometimes I like to write it down. Today I wrote it down and I have it on the iCal. It's the same info that's in the iCal, but a little bit more detailed, broken out. The organization is my, I think.
So we have all these ideas. We have the written list, the iCal, we've got the whiteboard. When you want to act on one particular idea, what is step one for you to making that happen? If you have a particular routine when you want to go on an idea. Well,
because I have so many things, I have to compartmentalize those things. So it is about scheduling dedicated time to each thing by itself. You know, so when we're done, I have a schedule of what I'm doing today. I have a play that is coming out. So I'm working on the play. I have to get the play done. And that was time to, if we were going to be on strike, what could I work on that was not, within the boundaries of not working with the AMCPT. So I'm doing this play. So I have that booked out until lunch. And then after lunch, I have stuff with the kids. I have, it's all in there. So it's dedicated time.
Do you ever find it beneficial to have things bleed over into each other where one project might serve another well?
No. But I might work on more than one in a day, but not, there will have to be a pocket of time in between where I like cleanse and reset.
Okay. So you have your ideas, you know how to act on them. But even when you get that far, I feel like it can always be difficult to, I guess, silence the noise and eliminate all the distractions that could be happening around that. So what are some tools you use in order to block all that out and keep your focus on what you're working on?
Do not disturb, right? Do not disturb. I don't answer my phone. I also set a timer. The greatest thing that I do is get all my stuff done, do my emails, turn everything off. Then I set a timer in 20-minute intervals. So for 20 minutes, I just have to free write and I can't go back and edit. I just have to continue. I mean, or I'll outline, I'm outlining or I'm breaking story, whatever the thing is. Sometimes I'm breaking the story. So I know what I want to say. I know what it is. What is this scene? What am I getting? What does this scene have to accomplish? And if I'm outlining, then I'm trying to focus on breaking it. If I'm in the writing phase, I read it over and I'm like, okay, now I have to write it. So it's just focusing on that one thing for 20 minutes. And then after the 20 minutes is up, I can check my phone, I can check my text, I can check my email. I can have 5 minutes before I set the timer again for 20 minutes. That's been super effective for me.
So you have that method of focus, but what about when the time actually calls for you kind of breaking that routine and focus to let something new in? Can you give us an example of a time when, something might have seemed like a distraction, but it was actually something that you needed to embrace and it improved something?
I mean, I have been doing it this way I also think like we have to train ourselves to do things in a way. So I would say during this 20-minute window, I've never gotten distracted. Like it works, right? But I mean, I've been doing it for a long time. So I don't remember it not working, which is why I think I continue the 20-minute timer. Now look, does it sometimes take more than 5 minutes to do the 20 minutes again? Is it sometimes a half hour because your email, whatever, life happens? Sure. But I try not to be too hard on myself about those things.
Okay. So we'll lean into the idea of not being too hard on yourself. I have a lot of questions that fall in that category.
Go ahead.
First, I want to ask about dealing with rejection and, dealing with rejection and no's. For you, what is the key to forging forward through rejection, but doing so in a way where you always stay true to yourself and your goals rather than remold yourself because of that rejection?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I would say one of the reasons I like to do many things at once is because there was a time I would pour everything into one thing. And then if that one thing died, the devastation was so great. And look, I'm also an incredible multitasker. I know a lot of writers that are not, multitasking is not their jam, but they have other superpowers. So I think you have to sit with yourself and say, what is true for me? Because I don't think everyone needs to have 17 things on a piece of paper. Like you can have 2 things, you can have one thing. For me, the one thing broke my heart and the recovery of that was such that if I have 4 things and one dies, I'm like, okay, on to the other 3. And it makes it easier for me to move on. It does make it more difficult to fragment myself to work on those 4 things at the same time, or whatever, however many things I'm doing at one given time. Because it's not, I'll work on something sometimes it's like a week is dedicated to one thing. It varies depending on the needs, depending on when this is over one day, it might be day to day is different, or a month I'm doing this, or when I'm shooting, it's just that. There's no room for anything else when I'm shooting. It's just going to be whatever that thing is while I'm shooting it. So I think you have to be a little nimble and kind of vibe out what the needs are and do your best.
So do your best. How do you prioritize self-care when doing your best, especially when
Perri,
it means
there's no self-care. Perri, I mean, I would love to prioritize self-care. I would love it. Look, I do a stretch. I get a lady comes and stretches me. There's a place called Stretch Lab. I do that once a week, and I get my body stretched, and I try to meditate during that time. I try to get a massage here or there. I mean, right now, a lot of the luxury things with the strike have been cut from all of our budgets. So many of us have had to go through, and anything that was self-care has had to go. So we've had to redefine what self-care looks like because we want to be fiscally responsible and we don't have money coming in. Most of us, right? So, I meditate every day. That's a big thing for me. That's a tool that works for me. And that's free. So I do that. I also, when I'm picketing, I get to connect with other writers and talk and have, little mini therapy sessions with people. So we're all in this together. We're not alone. That solidarity is super nice, and the actors are with us now, and that's so lovely. I'm in both. So it's so fun to go to the tents in the morning when I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm here for SAG and I'm here for W. I have both of my cards. Very exciting. So it's hard. I would say that's the hardest. I'm going to be real. Self-care is the hardest part. It's hard. I don't know. I think that there's other people that are probably better at, I don't know that I'm the best at self-care.
I mean, I feel like no matter the times, a lot of us have that problem. Also, when I think that you're in a field where your work is your deepest passion,
yeah, joy.
I feel like
Yes. I'm not taking ditches. I'm not. Yeah. It's the best thing. The best self-care is to get back to work.
Well, so there's another layer to that question also. What is it about what you could be doing right now that makes the work you can do feel like self-care, feel like it's kind of like filling you up inside?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you the thing that was the most nourishing, was it last week? Yeah, last weekend? Maybe 2 weekends ago now. Time has no meaning. I got together with a bunch of friends and we put up a play to raise money for the Entertainment Community Fund. And it was plays that I had written years ago. I used to put up plays every year, short plays, and there would be like 6 to 8 one-act plays. And we did it for a decade. And then I became a showrunner and I didn't have time to do them anymore. And so some friends that are SAG members were like, hey, let's put up the plays. Let's raise some money. Let's get together. Let's all remind ourselves why we do this. And we did, and it was, Todd Grinnell and Noah Wiley and Ray Seahorn and so many wonderful actors. And we just put up this play together, and all of us at the end of it, we were like, we raised $15,000. We were delighted, but we were like, oh, this was nourishing in a way that we didn't expect. Us coming together, us being on a black box stage, acting and making each other laugh and creatively working with other people in a creative, because this has forced us to not be creative, right? And so that was so nourishing to the point where we're like, how long is this going to go? Do we do another one? Because it was really, really beautiful to be creative. It's lovely to walk together and to have conversation together, but boy, creating together is the best.
Is there anything about that kind of nourishment that you are maybe eager to seize and have applied to your work going forward after all of this is over? Well,
I'm really collaborative by nature anyway. I mean, you can ask any of the actors that work with me. I really love, I love on Broadway, the first person that plays a role, it says their name in the playbill forever. Like when you go to Sam French and you buy the play, their name is in there because there's fingerprints that they leave on the work. And that always moved me. And so when a person is playing a role that I've written, it's not just mine anymore. You know, when Justina Machado takes over, it becomes her and me making a collaboration. And I really value that collaboration. So I love, Mark and Delicato and I would sit when this last season, his character got married and he was like, I don't think I'm getting married in real life. So this is my wedding. And we sat and we talked about what would be meaningful for this character. And we designed this wedding. So it's like, I love sitting with actors and letting them really not only embody the role, but embody space, embody what types of shoes do you think your character would wear? What kind of outfits, really sitting with character and what's the best way to tell this story. And we are partners in telling this story. So I've always been able to do that. So, and I love it. I get so sad when writers are not, when they treat actors like meat puppets, because there's such an opportunity there for a beautiful collaboration. And that's certainly been my experience. I've been really lucky.
That kind of creative partnership is what makes me love this industry so much.
Yes,
and it fills my heart more than I can ever explain. Here is like a big blunt question, but I do think it's an important one to ask because I have a feeling a lot of people out there do run into this. How do you avoid feeling guilty when you are making something that doesn't make you any money?
Oh, I have no problem making stuff that doesn't make me money because I don't do it for the money, right? The money is a nice byproduct. I'm delighted. And by the way, pay me all the money after this, guys. Pay me all the money. Pay me all the money because I'll distribute it in a fair manner. I do stuff for free all the time. I just did a friend of mine just got the SAG waiver to do a little short. And I did 2 days on the short for no money. Delighted time of my life. Like, I never have a problem doing stuff for free. It's why I would do it for free, right? Like, we just have to pay our bills and live life. So, no problem doing stuff for free.
I love hearing that. I know it can be very challenging again when your passion is also the thing that gives you a livelihood to figure out that kind of balance between the two. Well,
I also think, look, I've also been poor. You know what I mean? Like, I've been very poor and happy. So happiness is not tied to the money for me. The money just makes other things easier, and it makes me easier to take care of. I take care of a lot of people, and so I want to be able to take care of them. But I've been poor. That's the part of the strike that was so funny to me when they were like being so awful. Like, we hope people lose their house. I'm like, if you're an artist, you've probably been poor. Like, we're not afraid of being poor. Like, we've been there. So it's, we do it because we're trying to say something. We're trying to hold up a mirror to society and have real conversations and provide a salve to people, who are out there struggling.
People, myself included, need that mirror. So thank you for creating it. I have a feeling, given your answer to those questions, there might not be that much of a difference here. But what would you say is the biggest difference for you when you're creating for yourself versus creating something for, a network, let's say?
Well, look, when you're creating for a network, this is hard. This is a big conversation, and people feel differently about this. But when you're creating with a network, they're paying for it. So it's not going to be exactly what you want. There is collaboration involved in that too. There are standards and practices. There are people giving you notes and thoughts, and it's a less pure form of art, but it's still art. It's still, how do you take these notes and still make it something that you love and that you want to stand behind? And I think there's an art to that, to collaborating, to giving them the thing that they need while also keeping the thing that made you love it intact. And I think there's a very artful dance to be had there to make that happen. It's different, but it still can be incredibly beautiful and rewarding. Mm-hmm. And I've been really fortunate to work with great partners and executives who were smart and I think often push me to make things deeper and better. And so it's finding that balance.
Good balance, and yet more examples of collaboration that we need to see even more of in this industry. Yes. This next question kind of goes back to the idea of this craft being somebody's deepest passion in addition to it being their job. But I know there are many out there who get concerned that no job can equal no purpose. Have you ever run into that mentality yourself? And if so, how did you reframe that thinking?
Oh, we have to have other things than this. We have to have other things. I mean, it's really funny. I'm on social media, but social media for me is purely really a space to talk about the work. So I don't really post about my personal life there. I post about my work. And I was at an event last year where I was honored, and they were like, oh, you have a table if you want to invite friends and family. And so I had friends and family there, and I have a husband and 2 children that are very rarely on. My children are never on social media. People don't even know their names, and I love it. My husband is a public person as well, so people know that I'm married, but I don't know. He doesn't do carpets. He doesn't like that stuff. So I remember a bunch of people came over like, oh, this is like, who are these people? I'm like, this is my family. And they're like, what? You're what? And it was, I loved that they didn't know. I loved that this is mine. I don't share it with all y'all. I share a lot with all y'all. This is mine. And this is also my life and purpose. So while I love what I do, while I love it so much, and I can't imagine doing anything else, it doesn't define me. That defines me. And that is just mine. And so I think that if it's your friend group, you're something else, you need to have something else. This can't define you. This can't define you.
I feel like you were talking at me at the end of that answer there. I got to take that to heart a little more than I do.
It's great. It's whenever I'm talking to mentees too, and they're like, well, when I'll be a writer, I'm like, you're a writer now. You're an actor now. You might not be a professional actor right now, but you are an actor. Mm-hmm. Also, don't let getting paid or not getting paid define you. I know some of the most brilliant actors I know are now school teachers, or are now in finance. They just took a different path. Doesn't mean they weren't phenomenal artists. It's just for whatever reason, life took a different turn for them and they decided on another path. And doesn't take away the fact that they were brilliant artists.
Oh, exactly.
This is also about tenacity and staying around, and you have to have a stomach for that.
Yes, that is for sure. Speaking of someone maybe who is staying around and, even I would go as far to say thriving right now. Can you share an example of something you saw somebody else do creatively recently that's inspired you?
Yeah, I would say, so we did this play for the Entertainment Community Fund. And it was the play that I was in was a play I had originally done 11 years ago, because I was actually pregnant. I'm pregnant in the play, and I was actually pregnant with my son at the time. No, 12 years ago. We'd done it 12 years ago. Andrew Leeds and Lindsay Kraft, who are both SAG and WGA members, wrote it and directed it. And when we wrapped, and it was so beautiful, they were like, I'm going to shoot it. Andrew's like, I'm just going to pay for it. I'm just going to, let's shoot it. He got all his waivers. And we spent 2 days in a house shooting this short. And it was so beautiful to sit and watch 2 of my friends who I loved so much, who wrote something 12 years ago, get to shoot it, get to make. Never would all of us been available to do something like this. And we all came together for the love of it. And we had, Todd Grinnell was doing tech, Jason Enzer, all these professional actor and directors were there, holding boom mics, like whatever needed to be done, running, getting, Jason Enzer is a big director, is like, yeah, I'm going to go to Starbucks. Do you need coffee, Gloria? We were just there for the love of being together and making something. And it really inspired me. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful experience.
Speaking of, I'll end with this because I believe I have to let you go shortly. But speaking of the idea of maybe people doing things that aren't usually in their own job description, what is something new that's inspired you that you didn't expect? Like maybe a particular job or thing that you dismissed, but you have tried it recently and you wound up getting out of it more than you ever could have imagined.
Oh my gosh, recently, listen, I'm old now. I haven't done a lot of I don't do new things anymore. What's new that I've done recently? I don't know that I've done anything new. I think that I've more just doubled down on the other stuff that I do. I don't know. I can't think of I can't think of anything.
Maybe I'll rephrase that in terms of the idea of doubling down on the things that you've always done. Is there anything on that list that's kind of emerged as more valuable than ever to you, where you're embracing it now more than ever?
You know what I've been embracing? I've been embracing writing with people more. And Mike Royce really opened me up to that. Mike Royce, Norman Lear partnered Mike and I up together when we made our last show, and I have written with people in the past, but for the last 15 years had just written on my own in a writer's room, but had written by myself. And it is so fun to write with somebody else. So I have been in this time, I'm working on something with a few comedians, and and that has been joyful. And I think that the sadness of this moment is lifted when you're also in partnership. That's really hard for new people when they're starting, because one of the reasons I stopped collaborating young is because agents tell you not to. They're like, we don't know who you are, so we can't now try to sell you and somebody else, and then you're also working with this person. Like, it's very difficult for an agent to sell that. So I'm speaking from privilege, because now that the town knows who I am, I can partner with people and do that. But boy, it's fun. Boy, that's been really lovely to do. I've really enjoyed doing that.
Oh my, I'll add one follow-up to that idea for maybe newer writers entering the industry. If they do want to jump in feet first and lean into the idea of having partners, what would you recommend they do so they don't necessarily hit that wall or just feel fearful of it?
Well, I think out the gate, you've got to decide if you're going to go at it alone or if you're going to partner. And if you're going to partner, you have to think of it as a marriage. That you have to, because you're establishing yourself as that united voice. Because out the gate, it's so hard to sell writers. It's so hard. And so I get why at the beginning of a career, it's like you have to establish who you are first, and then you can work with other people. But you have to tell the town who you are and focus on that first. Or there are people who are like, but I think I'm going to be with this person for 5-10 years. We want to make stuff together. That's our favorite thing to do. Then that's who you are as an entity, and focus on that and putting stuff out together, and only write stuff together until you've made a somewhat of a splash, and then you can start to pivot.
I lie yet again. I have one more question. It's a two-parter, so I guess I have two questions.
Do it.
But speaking of the idea of partnership is making me wonder, can you maybe give us an example of a time when you were newer in the industry and someone was there just when you needed them and they lifted you up? And then maybe also now that you're at the level you're at, what you could do for newer writers to help them and help them carve a path in this industry that's creatively fulfilling for them?
Well, I would say on every show I was on, there was someone who was kind and took an interest and, would read my specs, or would give me thoughts on things, or would give me suggestions of things I could do in the room, be louder, pitch more confidently, So I was really fortunate to have that really in every writer's room I've ever been in. And then I mentor a lot. I have like 22 mentees, I think. So I'm on, there's a thing called Marco Polo. I don't know if anyone knows Marco Polo, but I'm on Marco Polo every day, talking to mentees, talking to fellow writers about like, what are your challenges and struggles today? How can I be supportive in your creative journey? And I do a lot of speaking engagements to also talk to the next generation of writer. I also have a free YouTube series that I'll plug. That's 11 episodes on YouTube. It's free, and it's a masterclass with me about like how to get started in Hollywood, called Hollywood 101, that people can watch. And I break down scripts, and I talk about going on generals, and I talk about pitching shows, and I talk about kind of all the things. So people can check that out.
Oh, I love it. I love that there's all of that additional information out there from you. And then also that you took the time today to share some of your creative process and your experiences with us right here. Gloria, thank you so much for being here and for answering some of my questions, digging into creating during times of hardship. It is much appreciated.
Thank you, Perri.